Where would you find a flying pig guarding an enchanted castle, surrounded by an ancient forest that's only been here for 2 days? Welcome to the world of Harry Potter. We've come behind the scenes during filming of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the 6th film in the series. And the most exciting thing this year is, I'm going to be in it.
In this special programme, we'll be talking to cast and crew about the stories behind the story, meeting some new faces,
Merlin's beard!
being put through our paces in some Quidditch training, and in a World TV first, we'll be going where no other show can, onto the set and into the film, as I take on the role of a Harry Potter film extra. But first, let's catch up on what happens in this eagerly awaited chapter of the Harry Potter story. Voldemort is tightening his grip on both the Muggle and Wizarding worlds, and Hogwarts is no longer the safe haven it once was. Harry suspects that dangers may even lie within the castle.
Once again, I must ask too much of you, Harry.
Together, he and Dumbledore work to find the key to Voldemort's power.
Now get out of here at once!
The heat is also on elsewhere as teenage hormones rage across the ramparts.
Hey, she's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one.
But I am the chosen one.
Love may be in the air, but tragedy lies ahead, and Hogwarts may never be the same again.
Harry's character is obsessed in this film with two things. One is Draco Malfoy, who is convinced has become a Death Eater, and so he follows him. And he's absolutely sure that Draco is up to something really devious in this film. The other thing is a book, which is his potions textbook, which he's got a very, very old copy, and it's got lots of scrawls in it of someone who used the book ages ago. And the book has a bit in it where it says, "This book is property of the Half-Blood Prince," hence the title of the film.
Who's the Half-Blood Prince?
Who?
That's what it says right here. This book is property of the Half-Blood Prince.
And so part of it's about Harry's obsession with this book and the fact that he kind of won't be parted from it. He's kind of addicted to it.
Let's have a look, shall we?
No. I think this one's a lot lighter than the last one because I think the 5th one was quite a scary sort of atmosphere. And you still get this with this one because there's a lot of sort of scary things going on in the Muggle world now. You definitely sort of sense the Voldemort sort of presence. And there's quite a lot of romantic sort of storylines in this one, so it should be quite fun.
Hermione's a mess in this one. She's not the best in potions anymore because Harry's got this special book. And Ron's off snogging Lavender somewhere, and that's kind of rubbish. She's getting all these feelings, and she doesn't really know how to deal with them. She's definitely struggles. Yeah, she's out of her depth in this one, which is really nice because you see a kind of much more vulnerable Hermione, I think.
And the film sees Harry's old adversary Draco Malfoy rising to a dark challenge.
He's always envied Harry for being the all-seeing, all-dancing chosen one, so this is his chance to be the equivalent on the dark side, so he revels in it.
There are over 80 different sets on Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, some that we know and love, some that are new, some that are inside, some that are outside, and some that are supposed to be outside but have been built inside, like this one, Diagon Alley.
Diagon Alley was originally seen in the first film, The Philosopher's Stone, but in these darker times in the Wizarding world, most of the shops are now boarded up. This is the street in which I'll be working as an extra, so while they get it finished, I'm off for a fitting with costume designer Shani Tanim.
So Shani, I've come in for my costume fitting. I understand you know which character I'm going to be.
Yes, you're going to be an extra in Diagon Alley, one of the dad.
One of the parents?
One of the parents, actually, one of the dad going to buy books.
That's right.
To buy books or to buy things with their kids.
We still have some children.
So let me explain you. Because Diagon Alley, we just have the normal public of Diagon Alley. This is just the male, because you are in the male dressing room.
Of course,
so
yeah.
This is all the male that we have in Diagon Alley.
All the
so Diagon Alley start a little bit like Soho and then go up to sort of Oxford Street feel.
So I'm at the Oxford Street
So yes, because you are one of the dad.
The respectable dads. So I'm going to have to fit in with these guys?
Yes. So because you are sort of a good-looking man, I'm going to try to dress you slightly down.
Oh.
Then you will fit with what we think is a wizard dad.
OK, wizard dads aren't very good looking?
He could be very good-looking, but not as glamorous as you are.
I've never been called glamorous before. Are my clothes over here?
So let me show you. Everything will be those colors, because the whole street is in the grey. Grey, green, grey, blue. All the colors have, exactly, all the colors have a grey base. And what I would like to see you in black.
Right.
Or in brown. I would like to see you or like that, or like that, because I think that first, it will fit you very well.
Right.
Second, it will fit with the rest of the shop and the rest of the extras.
And you've kind of got to blend in with them as well. I can't say that.
Yes, you do. You cannot be that special.
Sure.
You will be special, like each one of our extras, but you won't be that special. Let me look at you, Ben. It is our sort of wizard, and it is not yet made for you. When we will finish the trouser, when we will, steam everything, make it on your size, make it really all perfect, it will be beautiful. Believe me.
Now we just need to audition my children.
Oui. Next step.
Coming up after the break, we discover how the filmmakers did this to one of London's most famous landmarks. And we meet the new potions professor, who may hold the key to the secret of Voldemort's power.
In every Harry Potter film, there's a new professor, and the filmmakers have hoovered up some of Britain's finest acting talent in casting them. Now, I've come down today to meet Professor Slughorn, who's Hogwarts' new potions master, and I've been told to hang around here. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there.
Professor Slughorn is someone who years ago was the potions master at Hogwarts and is the person that Dumbledore recruits this year to come back, not only to teach potions, but also because Dumbledore thinks that Slughorn has information on Voldemort that he is too ashamed to admit to knowing. And Dumbledore sort of uses Harry as bait in a way, because Slughorn's obsessed with the idea of fame and power. And so Harry is sort of the most famous, certainly young kind of wizard of his time, is the perfect sort of ploy to get Slughorn back to Hogwarts, because Slughorn would want to be around someone like Harry.
And Slughorn makes an unusual first appearance in the film.
Dumbledore and Harry come into this house that has obviously been ransacked, and there is a purple striped armchair, and Dumbledore performs a bit of magic, and out of that armchair evolves Horace Slughorn, who has disguised himself as an armchair. So there's a bit of special effects.
In
straight
lavender
off.
purple pyjamas.
In lavender, in the same material as the armchair. It's a very good entrance to a film.
Merlin's beard! No need to disfigure me, Albus.
So how do you get a chair to turn into an actor?
Working with an actor like Jim Broadbent, it just seemed the logical thing to let him drive the performance rather than come up with a slightly cartoony sort of caricature in terms of a chair.
Here's a mega $1 million Hollywood movie, and we basically put him on a plank of wood and sit him on this plank of wood. It's a little bit more elaborate than a plank of wood. But it's kind of a plank of wood.
It's a shiny plank of wood.
It's a shiny plank of wood with two guys operating it. And it sort of springs him up. I just said to Jim, you know what? Imagine you're a chair and then you're turning out of a chair and you have to shake all this fabric off. And he did this rather eccentric, crazy, quite funny acting transformation from a chair to a human, all in a performance.
And of course that was great, because from there, using our designs of what we wanted the chair to look like, we then started animating on top, rotoscoping his performance, then looking at how the actual chair itself would shrink and come back into his true proportions. And just working off him seemed to suggest that actually using cloth as an interesting technique would be quite a good way of resolving the chair and turning the fabric of the chair itself into the pyjamas that he was wearing.
Creating a visual effect is a process which involves filtering ideas from many different departments into one end result.
Sometimes you start off with some particular view in mind, but by the time you get to the end, it's gone through many iterations and turns out to be something quite different, because you've either discovered something new en route, or you've discovered something that you thought would work, it doesn't work, and it's not very comfortable, it's not very funny, or it looks like a visual effect. And so it is a very subjective journey that we take.
Horace's weakness is that he has a sort of softness for stars.
You recognise Barnabas Cuff, of course, editor of the Daily Prophet.
He will do anything to get some star names under his wing.
He likes collecting them, doesn't he?
Yeah, he likes collecting them. So it doesn't take much tempting to come back in a way.
All right, I'll do it. But I want Professor Merrythorpe's old office, not the water closet I had before. And I expect a raise. These are mad times we live in, mad.
They are indeed.
And it's not just mad times in the wizarding world. There's panic on the streets of London as Voldemort's soldiers, the Death Eaters, attack the Millennium Bridge. Even the makers of Harry Potter don't have the budget to destroy the bridge for real, so they sent a team down there to film images that would later be incorporated into this extraordinary sequence.
During the actual destruction of the bridge, obviously we start replacing more and more of the real elements, so we have to take the real bridge out and replace it with the CG bridge. We've actually replaced the Thames as well with CG water, so that we get all of the real interaction between the bridge collapsing into the water and the splashes and things. And of course, ultimately at the end, we've actually replaced all the people on the bridge with CG characters running away from the destruction.
There are just under 1,500 special effects in the film, and constant developments in the processes used have enabled the filmmakers to pursue ever more ambitious results.
I think Quidditch, for example, is in this film better realised than I think we've ever had it. I think it feels more real than ever before. Technology's improved. I think our knowledge of visual effects has improved, and I just think it feels really, really real.
But how they film Quidditch before it actually hits the technology is still a closely guarded secret. Or is it?
Basically, it's no main secret other than for a man. If you imagine sitting on a bicycle and taking your feet off the pedals and off the ground and just hanging there and then leaning forward, and with all the repercussions that has, then you get a
what are you getting
idea.
at?
Well,
Balance is difficult.
Balance is very, very difficult, and also certain very, very important organs are crushed.
Ah, comfort.
And yeah, so the comfort levels are not high.
This is Ron's first outing in the Quidditch arena, and he eventually emerges as quite a star.
I've always fancied sort of having a go on a broom.
Yeah, being a hero.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a anticlimax when I first sat down, because it's quite painful for one. It's because you are actually just sitting on a broom, and it does, when you're up there for a few hours, it does quite get a bit painful, and but no, it's going to look really cool.
Davey wanted a comedy aspect to this one, so we had to come up with different gags, different ideas of flying, and different falls, you know, for comedy falls. And you know, Quidditch, when they're flying up there, and obviously on these rigs at the Quidditch arena, we've come up with a Russian swing that we've been using and launching them off that.
So what on earth is a
Russian swing? Is just a great big swing, which you swing back and forwards, and on the number 3, the guys just launch. I mean, we can get them up there on that, you know, but we had a big one made for Quidditch for inside, and we had a smaller one made for out here just to launch them off and just let them skid across.
So
the
you
mud.
swing them backwards and forwards, 1, 2,
3,
off you go. Let them go.
Yeah. 58 feet was the furthest we launched one of them with a broomstick.
This sort of action is strictly left to the stunt team. For the actors, Quidditch training is somewhat less dramatic. I'm going to be given a chance to get out and do some stunt training with Greg on the trampoline.
Right.
Have you any advice for me?
I had to do that for about a few weeks before I was allowed on a broom.
Seriously?
Yeah, you have to master all these different sort of jumps, like tuck jump.
That's like jumping and bringing your knees up.
Yeah.
My 4-year-old cousin can do that.
it just get harder because they put you in this harness.
Right.
And you're on these like bungee springs.
Okay.
I don't know if you're going to be doing that, but that is quite scary.
You go really high.
You go about 30 foot in the air.
Whoa!
And I don't know if you'll be holding up, because I was holding a broom and they were throwing balls at me and I had to sort of save all these. It's quite scary.
Hey,
Great.
I didn't really enjoy that part. Good luck, anyway.
I'm gonna need it. I understand this is where the Quidditch training takes place.
It starts here.
It starts here?
It starts here. We get all the kids in. And we basically just play with them on the trampoline, on the floor, in the gym, just to get some movement and some timing.
And these are obviously the equivalent of the quaffle or...
Correct, yeah. Just a softer version for this, just in case it catches you in the face. And
So look, you've got a harness up there as well. What's
yeah,
that?
this is what we start everyone, all the people who's been playing Quidditch, we start them in that just to get them bouncing up and down so they're safe. If they make a mistake, we can just hold them off the tram.
Excellent.
Dave, just come down, we'll take your shoes off and we'll put you up in the harness. This is good.
Like ringing the bells.
That's it, good. Trying to catch him on the nose. Which I do quite often.
Not the nose I'm worried about, Greg.
Watch your nose this time. Here it comes.
It's going to take a lot more than practice to get me match fit. I think I'm going to need some of this.
It's a curious little potion known as Felix Felicis. But it is more commonly referred to as...
Liquid luck.
Yes, Miss Granger. Liquid luck. Desperately tricky to make, disastrous should you get it wrong. One sip and you will find that all of your endeavors succeed. At least until the effects wear off.
Now, this is a wonderful set, one of the many wonderful sets, Dan, but can you just tell us what's going on?
Basically, in this scene, this is the first time we see Slughorn teaching, and we're all making potions, and it's a notoriously difficult potion to make, and we're competing with each other to win a bottle of this stuff called Felix Felicis, which is liquid luck, which means if you take it, all your endeavours will succeed. And so we're all competing to get it, and Harry follows the scrawled instructions of the Half-Blood Prince in his book and makes the perfect potion.
How did you do that?
Crush it, don't cut it.
No. The instructions specifically say to cut.
No, really.
Now then, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Not that I'm suggesting it's not an interesting look, or even attractive, but what's going on with the hair?
This is Hermione in her final stages of potion madness, and she's meant to look a little bit like Medusa at this point. Hermione really, really, really wants to be the best and make the best potion so that she can win the prize, which is this little vial of liquid luck. She just gradually gets more and more frustrated and desperate as the scene goes on.
Because it's very unlike Hermione to be getting things wrong as well.
Very unlike her. She hates it. She hates not being the best. Hates it.
And watching Harry doing everything against what the recipe says.
But getting it right is just too much.
He's top of the class. He's even better than you, Hermione. Slughorn thinks he's a genius. Oh.
I'm very impressed at the fact that Hogwarts, this school of witchcraft and wizardry, uses gas for their Bunsen burners. Interesting.
You can't beat gas.
Very strange thing that they've done. You can imagine Dumbledore on the phone to the gas board.
Yeah.
What time will he be round? You know, just check the meter.
Dark times lie ahead, and later we'll be finding out why when we meet Draco and Greyback, both working some bad magic. Plus, we'll be catching up on all the gossip and finding out who's snogging who.
Excuse me, I have to go and vomit.
But after the break, I'll be stepping into the film as an extra. I can't wait. See you in a bit.
What do you think?
Always wanted to do that. Welcome back. We're behind the magic on Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I'm just heading to set where I'll be joining the cast as an extra in filming a scene, which means I'm actually going to be in the film. I was hoping that the chauffeur-driven car was for me, but it looks like I'm on the minibus.
So now we're going to set.
Okay.
What I normally tell the extras is mobile phones off on set.
Right.
No cameras, anything like that. Obviously, the etiquette of the set is keep quiet, listen to the director or to the third on the set who will give you your direction, and enjoy.
And I promise I'll behave.
Good. I don't want to hear bad things.
No.
In the scene, I'm playing a wizarding dad, so now seems a good time to meet my new kids.
Wow, so here you are, and you're going to be in a new Harry Potter film. How does that feel?
Feels amazing.
Pretty exciting.
It feels
seeing
awesome
as
because
I love acting.
our friends are going to watch and saying, hold on, it's Marcus and Giles. Olivia.
And I really like acting, so this is really big for me.
This could be like your big break.
Yeah, a big break, big payoff.
Big payoff? Wow, are you thinking about the money already?
Yes.
He does sound like my son. Now look, obviously it's quite exciting being down here. Who have you met so far, Jake?
Just Daniel and Rupert.
Daniel and Rupert, what was it like meeting them?
It was quite fun.
It's good. Dan's very funny. He's a great guy.
He's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy. What about you, Olivia?
Met Dan and Rupert.
And were they cool?
Yeah, they were cool.
Did you have good fun with them?
Yeah, I had fun with Dan.
You had fun with Dan?
Dan's always a laugh.
Like the fact you... Maybe I better not say it, actually.
No, you can. Go on.
She tried to pinch Dan's phone.
You tried to pinch Daniel Radcliffe's mobile phone?
No.
Did she get it?
No.
Ah, do you imagine whose phone numbers are in there?
A lot.
I think he's got Britney Spears' number, you know.
Yeah, cool. I do.
Yeah, you see, you're interested now, aren't you?
Yes.
There are over 650 children working as extras on the film. They come not only from stage schools, but local schools and theatre groups too. The scale of this aspect of production alone is phenomenal, as not only do they need feeding and clothing, they all have to have school lessons between filming, even if they are only here for just one day. But that doesn't apply to me, so I'm heading straight off to the set now that the construction workers have moved on and the paint is freshly dried. So this is it. This is Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. This is the place where my big break's going to happen. We're going to do my scene in here. And it's just incredible. The detail, as ever, is extraordinary. All the toys. And the thing that you can't get is it actually smells like a toy shop or a sweet shop. But the thing I love more than any of it, more than the anti-gravity hats, more than the dancing chickens, more than all the sweets, is this. 10-second pimple vanisher. I'm going to have me some of this. Brilliant. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes is the shop opened by Ron's twin brothers after they left Hogwarts. It's an emporium stuffed with over 40,000 packages and boxes, which took 15 people nearly a year to design and over 50 people to create. Now look, how extraordinary is your joke shop?
It's awesome. Yeah, it's kind of freaky having like a 20-foot version of you on the set.
Especially on Moose, yeah. It's great. I mean, I think it is one of the best sets throughout the whole series, let alone just on this film.
Obviously, you've been in there and you've had a look round. Have you got a favourite thing? Have you got a favourite part of it?
I think it's a mix-up between either there's a girl, like a model of a girl being sick.
Yeah,
which just keeps
the puking pastels.
Yeah, the puking pastels. And there's also the pimple concrete, I think.
Yeah, 10-second pimple vanisher.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
I've nicked some of that. Because I think that would be
It'd
worth
be a
a
good
fortune
seller,
on
wouldn't it?
the open market.
Talking of which, I wonder how much I could get for these. But enough of this wheeler dealing. I'm wondering whether Dan's got any tips for my big screen debut.
I think you should have just sort of played him as someone who's not necessarily a wizard and just totally confused by everything around him. That could have been good as well.
I could be confused.
Yeah, you could show me your confused face. That's very good. Yeah.
I can do surprised.
That's very similar.
I can do confused and surprised.
Yeah. There's so much going on with the hands out of shot. I don't know if you can actually see it, but look, every time Ben doesn't do
I haven't even noticed my bling yet as well.
Oh no, that's wizard bling, where it's made out of pewter rather than gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It was once a tankard.
Now, I'm not here for all of them, but there are 5 days scheduled to film this scene, which will only run in the film for 1 minute and 22 seconds.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but Ben needs you on set.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
This is it. A big moment. I'm going to go on to set now. I'm not sure you're going to get through this gap, so I'll see you on the other side.
Although I spend my working life in front of a camera, this is one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. I'm only a small part of the background action, but I just don't want to make a mistake.
Ready, and background action!
In this scene, whilst Harry, Ron and Hermione are visiting Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, we see Lavender, Ron's love interest, for the first time.
Into the cauldron, handsome!
And that's me done. I wonder what director David Yates thought of my performance.
Now look.
Very good. Listen, I've seen some first days And that was one of the best I've seen, really. Very, very good. You're a real pro.
Do you think so?
Yeah, very natural, but vivid.
Which is an important part of it,
Completely,
isn't it?
yeah. You sort of blended into the background, but then you kind of made that character your own. So it was good. It was really natural, actually. It was perfect.
For those 5 seconds, I kind of owned,
those 5 seconds.
owned it. Do you think
that was
that
5 seconds of Harry Potter?
But this is what I was saying.
Prime
that I
time.
will always be in their film.
You will be in there forever. When people watch it on the telly and on satellite in years to come, you'll be there to show your grandkids. How cool is that?
So that went well.
Was Ben any good to be? It was,
It's not actually going to be used, though, is it? His stuff.
He did, yeah, all right, yeah, I think so.
After the performance given here today, he should be banned from all forms of media.
It's a good job we were in a joke shop, really.
It's lovely to meet him.
It was all right, yeah. I mean, nothing special, really.
Just don't think he's really cut out for the whole extra thing.
Definitely stick to presenting, yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm sure they're joking. You can make up your own mind after the break when we'll see the finished result. Plus, we'll be getting back to more serious matters as we discover how the dark forces are threatening life as we know it in the wizarding world. Welcome back. We've come behind the scenes on Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Everywhere you look, there's some form of magic, the darkest of which has its roots in the orphanage at the end of this street, which is home to the young Tom Riddle.
I must admit to some confusion upon receiving your letter, Mr. Dumbledore. In all the years Tom's been here, he's never once had a family visitor. There have been incidents with the other children, nasty things. Tom, you have a visitor.
Tom Riddle grows up to become the most evil wizard of all time, Lord Voldemort. Yet his first encounter with Dumbledore only hinted at the darkness that lay within.
There's this little boy in a sort of nursing home or a boys' home, and I go and talk to him. He seems to be odd, and he's played by Ralph Fiennes' nephew.
So the actual Voldemort?
So the actual Voldemort, the young man's been played by his nephew. I think it's brilliant.
When you're casting for kids, you turn every stone, you look in every direction. And Hero had done a little bit of acting before, and I was aware of him, so I thought he was an interesting kid and got him in to have a go.
You're the doctor, aren't you?
No. I'm a professor.
I think that why these films have been so successfully cast is because they're always cast for the right quality and for no other reasons. Hero is a great kid and a really good actor, and he was the right kid to play the part. The fact that his uncle is Ralph Fiennes is neither here nor there. He got the part for him, Hero, completely on his own merit.
She wants me looked at. They think I'm different.
Well, perhaps they're right.
I'm not mad.
Hogwarts is not a place for mad people. Hogwarts is a school. School of magic.
It was the day job of Dave Legino that made him an intriguing choice when casting Greyback, one of Voldemort's henchmen.
It was really interesting with Dave because when I met him, I did think you're just a lovely, gentle bloke. But then when I talked to him about his life and his other career, I suddenly thought, maybe you're not quite as gentle as I think you are.
Just explain what you do day to day, what your everyday job is.
Well, I'm a cage fighter, professional cage fighter for the past 2 years.
Which, for anybody that might not know what cage fighting is, it's exactly what you say, isn't it? There's a cage on a stage, and you go in and you fight.
Go and so 2 men enter, and 2 men leave as well.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
And but it's, mixed martial arts is a proper term for it, where all the combat sports in the world are combined, and you can use any technique you want.
What Dave has is an ability to switch his head to a certain angle whereby he can completely understand someone who's as ferocious and mercenary as Greyback the werewolf.
It's an extraordinary character. Tell me about Greyback. Who is he and where's he from?
Well, he's an untransformed werewolf. He feels like he's an outcast, and he's shunned by society through being a werewolf. And so rather than wanting to join in with them, he wants to infect as many people as possible, especially young children, so they grow up and being a werewolf becomes the norm.
I'm Hogwarts is a world champion kickboxer.
That's right, cage fighter, yes.
So I sort of...
In real life?
I've met him. He seems quite an amiable man, but I didn't go too near him. Close. He looks terrifying. He looks like a shark, that sort of dead-eyed.
Piercing.
And so I stayed well away from him.
He's a big, tough guy. Oh, I could have him, you struggle.
Yeah.
But I've almost no idea what the guy actually looks like.
Seriously?
I've only seen him once.
It doesn't matter how close you get to Dave, you can't tell what's real and what's not. And even though I've met him in the flesh and he's a lovely guy and a very handsome chap and all the rest of it, I cannot look him in the eye when he's fully robed up.
Really?
No, it's terrifying.
But off screen, these two have actually found something in common.
Well, I've become friends with Tom. I tell people I've got this, little blonde in my trailer, but it's actually Tom Felton. And we sit there, we both play guitar on a night shoot.
So there's him dressed as Draco, you dressed as Greyback,
and I've got
strumming a little bit of
harmonica harness around my neck, singing some Lynyrd Skynyrd. Yeah, it's good.
That's an interesting image.
Yeah.
Not quite the Death Eater to be and the angry sort of mercenary.
No, it's a bit of a surprise because he's such a nice guy. Because I saw him in the other films, I thought, oh, what a little rat.
Yeah.
Horrible snide. But he's really, really pleasant, and he's changed his hairstyle as well.
He has. That's acting for you, isn't it?
It's amazing what they can do.
The film sees Tom take on a significantly increased role as Draco Malfoy is given a disturbing task to perform.
For Malfoy, this film, he's the flip side of Harry in a way because he's become the chosen one. Voldemort's chosen him. So the force of evil versus the force of good is mirrored in Harry and Malfoy being the chosen one.
He doesn't have half the heart of Harry, and admittedly, it's quite a different scenario he's found himself in. But it's a tricky one, and sometimes he's all for it, and other times he's petrified at the thought of it. So he's back and forth quite a lot.
Draco's mother and aunt, Bellatrix Lestrange, are so concerned for his well-being, they enlist the help of Professor Snape, played by Alan Rickman, to keep a watchful eye on him.
Professor Slughorn, sir. I just discovered this boy lurking in an upstairs corridor. He claims to have been invited to your party.
Okay, I was gate crashing. Happy?
I'll escort him out.
Is he quite daunting to work with?
It's endlessly daunting. I mean, we've been shooting today with Alan, Helena, and Michael all on the set at the same time. So
how do you deal with
daunting? Isn't the word, Ben? Yeah, to say the least. I revel in it. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's the equivalent to watching. If you're a football fan, it's like going to watch your team live in the flesh. It's not only do you get to learn endless things. It's just a joy to watch them.
Whilst Draco's busy unsettling the peace, he's missing out on all the fun. But Ron is more than making up for it.
He gets a lot of action in this film, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does actually. Yeah, he gets Lavender. Jessie, she's really nice.
Tell us a little bit about Lavender.
Oh, Jessie Cave just brings her to life in the most deliciously unpleasant way. She's one of those girls who is like a leech.
Of course I'll wear it.
She has a crush on Ron, and she gets him in her mitts, and she won't let him go, and she's really fun, annoying and fun.
Becoming the girl who gets to kiss Ron was quite an experience for actress Jessie Cave, who plays Lavender.
It was so amazing because I honestly came away from it being, if I don't get the part, I don't care because I've had a screen test.
That was exciting enough.
It was because it was almost, you've had 5 minutes of being, as if you had got the part because you were fully in costume and you were on a real set, but also we had to improvise, which was...
With Rupert?
Yeah, straight away. So we didn't even do any script bit before and you just went straight into an improvisation.
And what did you have to do?
I just had to be, Lavender. And Ron was sitting on a sofa reading, and I had to just go bound up to him, and that was it. And so basically, within 2 minutes of getting there, I was told, right, just improvise. And so I had to come out of the room and go into the Hogwarts common room, and I was just like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing yet.
I said, Rupert, do you mind doing some improvisations with 7 different girls, all in about 3 hours? And they all have to sit on a settee with you, and they all have to be your girlfriend, and they have to it might get quite physical, Rup, and some of them are very pretty. And would you mind? And he sort of thought about it for about a second.
So you would be sat in the room, and this girl who'd never met you would have to come in and improvise as if she was Lavender. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was quite. No, it must have been quite nerve-wracking. But
did any of them try and kiss you?
No, they didn't. No,
Did they not?
No, it was just. I think they were quite nervous, but no, it was quite. It sort of brought me back, sort of reminded me of when I was sort of auditioning. It is quite a scary experience.
You know, when someone who hasn't done much acting before comes into a room and it's Rupert. Rupert's quite famous, obviously, and a lot of young actors get a bit starstruck, but he was brilliant with them, and there was just a natural chemistry between Rupert and Jessie.
I was really nervous actually because it's quite a scary, really uncomfortable feeling because the first one we did was in the dormitory after the Quidditch match and the whole room was full of people and I was standing on this like plinth, like this little stage and no, it was quite scary. But I mean, once we sort of got into it, it's fine.
But the course of true love never runs smoothly, and not everyone is happy with Ron's new status as a love god.
Lavender was the catalyst in making Hermione realise that she actually does have feelings for Ron, and Ron finally being like, yeah, I am attractive, and I can get a girlfriend if I want to get a girlfriend.
I think Hermione sort of views Lavender as though she's kind of another species. She doesn't quite understand what Lavender is or how possibly Ron could be attracted to her.
Excuse me, I have to go and vomit.
Things come to a head between the two girls when Ron talks in his sleep, revealing his true feelings as he lies ill in the infirmary.
Emma's performance was so nuanced, so detailed, and so believable. I mean, your heart aches for her as she yearns for Ron and is rebuffed because he's just doesn't get it. There's such truth, and I suspect that she may have experienced that in her own life. It just comes across in such a tender and beautiful and truthful way.
You say you don't remember anything from that night? Anything at all?
There is something. But it can't be. I was completely boggled, wasn't I?
Boggled. Typical boys, like, they'll say all of this when they're slightly drunk or slightly kind of not with it, and they'll say all of these things that really mean a lot to you, and then the next day they'll just be like, what? What did I say?
No.
Yeah, I've had experience with that myself. It's not very funny, I have to say. Not very funny.
Ron likes Hermione. Hermione likes Ron but can't quite express it, and Harry and Ron, not Harry and Ron. That was, this is a whole thing that Joe hasn't written, but we thought we'd add just to, make the audiences a little more interested. No, there is that would be quite unexpected. Well, mind you, at the read-through, I was sitting next to Jo. She comes to each of the read-throughs, and I look at her making notes. She makes the occasional note, and she wrote this. Dumbledore had this line, and she said, "Wouldn't say this." And as we're walking back to my office, she says, "Dumbledore's gay." And I was like, "Oh my God!"
That was a revelation
that
for
was
you.
a complete revelation.
And that's why he wouldn't have said that line.
Yeah, that's why he wouldn't have said that line.
So just to clarify, it's not Ron, but his sister Ginny Weasley who sets Harry's heart racing.
It's very complex because, of course, Ginny, as Harry's best mate's sister, it's a bit of a... It's quite a political situation between Harry and Ron. Because at the beginning of the film, Ginny's dating Dean Thomas.
Honestly, well, they're only holding hands.
And Ron's not happy about that at all and saying things like, well, you've got to hate anyone who dates your sister just on principle. And so Harry's sort of going, oh, yeah.
Knowing that he has feelings for her.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's, it's quite a tricky situation, but it is a really nice part of the story.
When you read The Half-Blood Prince, did you read it and think, oh my goodness, my character ends up snogging endlessly with Harry Potter? What's that going to be like to have to film?
Yeah, I mean, when I read it, I didn't... People kind of always go, oh, did you expect that to happen? Did you always think that? And I was completely shocked when I read it, because people had already kind of read on before. Some of my friends were really quick at reading it, and they were like, oh, have you read this page? And I'm like, no, I haven't read that.
Harry and Ginny are getting closer, and Ron, the thought of his best friend and his sister is just not pleasant, shall we say.
Ginny and Harry are sitting on the couch, sort of having this quite sort of romantic sort of scene. I just come in and sit between them with a bowl of pies.
And we must have done it 20 times because we couldn't stop laughing. Again, because Ron sort of sat down and said, pie?
Neither of them could say the word. It was just they just laughing before they'd even said it.
So you were the one that was corpsing?
And Rupert, me and Rupert, yeah. Bonnie a bit, but not so much. Me and Rupert.
She's professional. Come on,
exactly,
let's face
me and
it,
Rupert
between the
are
three
pretty
of you.
terrible
Yeah.
at corpsing still. I mean, I've got a lot better. Rupert's awful still.
It does get quite annoying because I've ruined so many takes. Yeah, it's just there's no reason for it as well. It's just really annoying.
Do you end up apologising?
Oh yeah, I feel really bad because sort of the day just goes on and on and on.
Pie? Not for me, no.
You had to do those scenes where you do the kiss. What was that like?
Yeah, it was weird. It was actually the first scene that I filmed on
No.
the whole film, yeah. And
So start with the hardest and then work down.
yeah. No, it was weird. I kind of obviously I've never done anything kind of on film like that.
Were you able to lead her through it? The old hand that you are?
No, I didn't really. It's weird because I did something possibly slightly stupid because I sort of assumed that because I was all right, she's going to be fine. So I didn't really think she'd be nervous. Apparently, she was very nervous, and rightly so.
I think at first, like the first few takes of the rehearsals can be really weird and it is quite awkward. But then after that, it just seems weirdly kind of just normal.
You got into it?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it? Is he a good kisser? That's what they want to know.
I know, that's all they ask.
Harry needs to make the most of the good times as the darkness is closing in.
At this time, I cannot hope to destroy it alone. Once again, I must ask too much of you, Harry.
Harry and Dumbledore's relationship changes in this film from being sort of teacher and student to a general and a foot soldier. And Harry's totally willing to do anything he can to help Dumbledore because I think the main difference this year is that whereas before, Harry's always talked about, you know, wanting to fight Voldemort, and, I'll kill him, I'll kill him, and all that. Well, you won't. But this year round, he's actually doing something towards, and he's actually taking action under Dumbledore's instructions.
Take my arm.
What is it that Dumbledore and Harry are trying to achieve in this film? Why are they? There was always
They're trying to achieve sort of goodness, aren't they? Trying to get rid of Voldemort, that evil pig.
Hogwarts is under threat. It's no longer the safe haven it once was. Harry does, in the end, find out this mysterious secret that Slughorn has been holding, and goes to tell Dumbledore, who now realizes the extent of Voldemort's evil, and he and Harry go off in search of this very vital element that could help Harry, in the end, overcome Voldemort.
One of the climactic scenes in the film finds Harry and Dumbledore in a vast cave, so huge that it was impossible to build a whole set large enough or find a real location. It proved to be one of the biggest challenges ever faced by the visual effects team.
The scale that he wanted to achieve was enormous, and so what we requested was a practical island to be built that the actors could work on, and the rest of it was green screen. So everything was recreated from the cave itself to the water surrounding, you know, the island and the lake they have to travel across in the boat.
How complicated was that? Because that's
because we're on a high island that's supposed to be made of ice, and it's all made of, you know, special effects stuff. Very dangerous, you skid on it. And they first of all suggested that I wear a harness. Being a proper theatre actor, I wouldn't dream of such a thing. So I spent a week up on this slippery mountain made of glass, me and Daniel.
Yes.
Being very butch, and we did very well, I think.
Normally, green screen is not a problem in the slightest, but when you're having to imagine such a vast space for such a pivotal moment in the film, you do kind of start to doubt yourself and think, oh, I wonder if I'll be able to actually create this in my head.
It's amazing.
So even at this stage in your career, you still find that fascinating when you eventually see it?
Oh, yes, yeah, absolutely.
What about the process of doing it, though? Do you enjoy...
Well, that can be a pain.
Yeah.
The whole environment we've created on this particular scene is like nothing I think you've seen before.
The story unfolds to a dramatic and shocking climax, after which nothing can ever be the same again. And that's about as much as I can tell you without spoiling it. But before we go, there's one more thing you need to see, and that's my bit. Earlier in the programme, I was lucky enough to walk onto the set and into the film as an extra. And here is the finished clip.
How much for this?
5 galleons.
How much for me?
5 galleons.
I'm your brother.
10 galleons.
Come on, let's go.
I run.
Hi. What do you mean you missed me? Pay attention.
Come on, let's go.
There, that's me. What, you missed it again?
Come on, let's go.
Stop! Just there.
I run.
That was so great. I can't believe it. I've been on film sets, so many film sets, so many times. I've been, for the last 3 films I've been here, to actually have a part. And one of the little kids that I had, Olivia, got really nervous. She was saying, Ben, I've got butterflies. And it started making me nervous. Even though it was 1 second of one frame, of one film, we were there. I was in it. And I'll be able to show my kids that and my grandkids that. I'll be able to look at that in 80 years' time and just see, that was me. What do you mean you missed it? And we can go back and watch it again and again. And that's just so exciting. As a fan and as a film lover, that was a really, really, really special moment.